Hey, this is David with Hagerty, our Redline rebuild updates. Today I'm working on our Ford race car, and I'm in this spot of that project that it looks like, well, I'll call it mudding drywall, meaning I got a lot of mud to do, and it's gonna look like the same when I'm all done. So we're not gonna go through and nitpick each little piece and talk about how we did it. We're just gonna go after it. There's gonna be a bunch of montage of me running around and some close-ups and some this and that's. And then at the end of it, I'll tell you what I accomplished for the week. So, here we go. Not bad. Not gonna win any those events. Okay, so here's what I've accomplished so far this week. I modified the clutch pedal and the brake pedal that were in it to use. Basically, I cut both of them completely off, shifted them over as tight as I could get to the left side, giving myself a little more footbox room relative to an accelerator pedal at some point, and got those back in and mocked up. At that point, I dove into some of the body stuff. Now I'm going to bounce back to this. We're not doing a concourse restoration. So it's a race car. It's about function. And about function is the parts don't fall off going around the track. So not getting real worried about all the bumps and bruises, but we are pulling some of them out just to kind of even things up. So up here you can see we went through, kind of turned it into a golf ball, but it'll be okay. The biggest thing is it didn't have any more big divots. And then where there were some rust, like in this particular spot here, I took and added in 2 pieces of sheet metal. Now, I've just spot welded them in here. If you are doing a restoration, this technique still applies. You just need to finish it. Now, you wouldn't necessarily overlap 2 pieces of steel like I did, but you would go through and you put your patch panel in here, you'd tack everything in, and then you would connect all the dots. So you had a continuous weld. You don't continuously weld it because then you'd create a bunch of heat and more work for yourself because this will warp all over the place. Then you would go through and grind off the welds nice and smooth and then apply your amount of filler needed to smooth everything out. And then we got to the back side and did some shoring up, and I still have a little bit to do, but shoring up of the trunk lid. So now we have our lid back on. So the reason this trunk lid is so flimsy is it's been, I'll call it cored out. So basically the back structure that would normally be in here is completely gone. So it's basically down to a flat piece of steel and then what lip is left from its life. The reason you do that is to lighten it up and make it, lighter, quite frankly. Doing that, you also lose all the stiffness. So what I'll do is go in and just put some strategic spots as far as holding that out in position with just a piece of steel, like round stock. Initially, this had a piece of steel in here and it was all pop riveted. I decided to take those pop rivets out and you weld it. All right, so my rockauto.com tip of the day is when you're welding and you have a hole that you're trying to fill, if you can get to the back side of it, if you take a piece of flattened out copper like this, set it in behind there, and then as you weld, the weld is not going to fall through. It's going to stop basically on the copper, and it will not attach to the copper. At the end of the day, we made progress. It's not exciting, but it's progress. So that is exciting. So speaking of progress, get out in the shop. Get your progress done in your work and all that good stuff, even if it's just sweeping the floors. See ya. Speaking of sweeping the floors.